Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm so excited you're here today because we're diving deep into some juicy stuff. In today's Pick a Card reading, we're going to be looking at the karmic lessons that someone needs to learn about you. It's all about understanding the bigger picture in your connections and maybe, just maybe, helping them grow a little bit. This is a safe space, so whatever comes up, know that it's for your highest good, okay? So what makes this reading extra special? Well, we're not just scratching the surface. We're digging into the underlying patterns and challenges that might be playing out in your relationships. This could be about a romantic partner, a friend, a family member, whoever you feel drawn to focus on. We're going to uncover the lessons they need to learn, what's holding them back, and how you both can move forward. It's going to be insightful, maybe a little intense, but definitely worth it. Now, let's check out the gorgeous crystals that are calling out to you today. First, we have the Amazonite Raw crystal, representing harmonizing, and it's all about releasing the need for control and finding peace and understanding. Then, for pile 2, we have the Garnet cluster, which is flowing, and it's focused on breaking cycles of avoidance and embracing vulnerability and growth. Next up, we have the Amber Palm stone for pile 3, all about centering, and this one is about overcoming self-sacrifice and prioritizing your own personal needs and boundaries. And finally, for pile 4, we have the Amethyst Tower, which is nurturing, and it's all about confronting unhealed wounds and cultivating self-compassion and forgiveness. So, take a deep breath, clear your mind, and trust your intuition. Which crystal are you most drawn to? Which one is, really speaking to you? There's no right or wrong answer here. Just go with your gut. Feel free to pause the video and really connect with each pile. And now, let's take a moment to set an intention, wishing for clarity and guidance as we uncover these karmic lessons. I hope this reading gives you exactly what you need. Hey, friend. So you picked the Amazonite, which is all about harmonizing, and this reading is about releasing the need for control and finding peace and understanding. So right away, I'm thinking this is about finding balance, like letting go so you can actually gain control in a healthy way, you know? It's like surrendering to the flow ultimately brings you peace. Okay, so let's dive into these cards. First up is the Hanged Man. This card is all about pausing, like a timeout. It's about seeing things from a different perspective, and it's often about sacrifice, but not in a bad way. It's more like, what do you need to let go of to move forward? Maybe you're clinging to a situation or an idea that's just not serving you anymore. It could be a job, a relationship, or even just a belief system. The Hanged Man is saying, hang tight, look at it from a new angle, and then release what you need to. This might feel uncomfortable, like you're in limbo, but it's actually a really powerful position. It's about gaining clarity before taking action. So maybe you're feeling stuck right now, but this card is a reminder that this pause is for your own good, to help you see things more clearly. And then we have the Emperor. Okay, so after the Hanged Man, we get the Emperor, which is all about taking charge, structure, and authority. This is about stepping into your power, but in a responsible way, you know. Not like a dictator, but more like a wise leader. So, maybe after that period of reflection with the Hanged Man, you're going to feel ready to take control of your life again. This could mean setting boundaries, making decisions, and really owning your space. The Emperor is all about creating stability and building a solid foundation. Maybe you've been feeling a little lost or uncertain, but this card is telling you that you have the strength and the skills to create the life you want. It's about being assertive and confident, but also fair and just. Which leads us to the Star. The Star, this is such a beautiful card. This is all about hope, healing, and inspiration. After the pause and the taking control energy of the other cards, the Star comes in as a breath of fresh air. This is about trusting the universe and knowing that everything is going to be okay, even if it doesn't feel like it right now. It's about finding your inner light and sharing it with the world. Maybe you've been through a tough time, but the Star is a reminder that you are resilient and that you have the power to heal. This is also about finding your purpose and following your dreams. It's like, after you've released what no longer serves you and stepped into your power, the universe will guide you towards your true path. This card is telling you to have faith and to believe in yourself, because you are worthy of all the good things that are coming your way. So this whole reading feels like a journey from feeling stuck to finding hope and taking control, all while releasing the need to micromanage everything. Okay, so after that amazing combo of the Hanged Man, the Emperor, and the Star, we're moving from that place of hope and inspiration right into the Seven of Wands. Okay, so, like, if the other cards were about finding your inner peace and power, this one is about defending it. You know, it's like the universe is saying, okay, you've got this clarity, this hope, this control. Now, how are you going to protect it? So, the Seven of Wands, it's all about standing your ground, facing challenges, and, like, not backing down, you know? It can feel like everyone is coming at you, like you're the only one who believes in what you're doing. But this card is telling you that you have the strength and the resilience to overcome those obstacles. Think of it as you've climbed to a higher ground, right? And now you have to defend that position. It's not always comfortable, but it's necessary. Maybe you're facing some opposition in your career, or maybe there are people in your personal life who don't agree with your choices. This card is a reminder that you don't have to justify yourself to anyone. You know your truth, and that's what matters. It's about, like, asserting yourself, setting boundaries, and not letting others walk all over you. But here's the thing, it's not about being aggressive or confrontational, okay? It's more about being confident and unwavering in your beliefs. It's like knowing your worth and not being afraid to defend it. This card can also indicate that you might be feeling a little defensive right now, like you have to constantly prove yourself. But maybe, just maybe, it's time to stop fighting so hard, you know? Like, is there a way to find a more peaceful resolution? Is there a way to compromise without sacrificing your values? That Amazonite crystal is really coming into play here because it's harmonizing. You might be feeling overwhelmed, but this card is telling you that you have what it takes to handle anything that comes your way. Just remember to stay true to yourself, trust your intuition, and don't be afraid to stand up for what you believe in. It's interesting because it also makes me think that maybe this is less about other people coming at you and more about your own internal battle and, like, what parts of yourself you're willing to defend and protect. Which, in turn, makes me wonder, what are you really willing to fight for? Okay, so after all that defending and standing your ground, we get the Hierophant. Okay, so, like, this is a big shift, right? Because if the Seven of Wands was all about individual strength, the Hierophant is about, like, institutions, traditions, and established systems. So, like, what does that even mean in the context of releasing control and finding peace? Well, maybe it means that, after all that fighting for your own space, it's time to find some guidance, you know? Like, maybe you've been so busy trying to do everything yourself that you've forgotten to ask for help or to learn from those who have come before you. This card can represent a mentor, a teacher, or even just a set of beliefs that provide structure and meaning to your life. Think of it as, like, finding comfort in the familiar, you know? Like, sometimes surrendering to a system can actually bring you a sense of peace. But here's the thing, with the Amazonite and thinking about harmony, it could also mean the opposite. Maybe the karmic lesson here is about questioning those very structures. Like, are you blindly following traditions that don't actually align with your values? Are you letting other people tell you what to do instead of listening to your own intuition? The Hierophant can also represent dogma and outdated beliefs. It's like, sometimes the most rebellious thing you can do is to break free from the expectations of others and create your own path. So, like, how does this connect to the other cards? Well, maybe the Hanged Man was about questioning the status quo, and now the Hierophant is showing you the source of that status quo. Maybe the Emperor was about taking control, but now the Hierophant is asking you, control of what? And according to whose rules? And maybe the Star was about finding your own light, and now the Hierophant is challenging you to share that light within a larger community, or to create your own community if the existing ones don't feel right. So maybe you need to decide, are you being called to embrace tradition, or to challenge it? Are you being guided by a wise mentor, Or are you being held back by outdated beliefs? Are you finding peace in structure, or are you feeling trapped by it? So is it time to find comfort in the familiar, or time to forge a new path? This is such a big question, and I wonder what card is coming next to help clarify this. Okay, so after all that questioning of tradition and structure, we get the Fool. I mean, wow, talk about a curveball, right? If the Hierophant was all about established systems, the Fool is like, nah, I'm gonna jump off a cliff and see what happens. So, what does that mean for you, especially after everything we've just talked about? The Fool is all about new beginnings, adventure, and taking a leap of faith. It's about, trusting the universe and not being afraid to step into the unknown, you know? It's pure potential, excitement, and, let's be real, a little bit of recklessness, too. So, connecting it back to the Hierophant, maybe this is saying that you do need to break free from those outdated beliefs, you know? Maybe the karmic lesson here is about embracing your individuality and not letting anyone tell you what to do. It's like the universe is saying, okay, you've questioned the rules, now it's time to write your own. But, hold on a second, because there's also another way to look at this, right? The Fool can also be a warning about being too naive, about jumping into something without thinking it through. Maybe you're so eager to break free that you're not seeing the potential consequences of your actions, you know. And with that Amazonite crystal, remember, it's all about harmonizing. So maybe the message here is about finding a balance between embracing the new and respecting the old. It's you don't have to throw everything away, but you also can't be afraid to take risks. So maybe you do need to embrace the unknown, but do it with awareness, okay? Don't just blindly jump off that cliff. Take a peek first, you know. See what's down there. Think about what really resonates with you, and also what your intuition is telling you. Is this a time to be fearless, or is it a time to be cautious? Is it a time to trust your gut, or is it a time to seek guidance? It all comes back to balance, right? To harmonizing your desire for freedom with your need for security. And honestly, this card, the Fool, can also be a huge green light. It's if you've been feeling stuck or held back, this could be the universe saying, go for it. But it's so hard to know because it really comes down to your specific situation and how you feel about everything we've talked about so far. This card, the Fool, is really making me wonder what the final card is going to be, because it feels like it could go in so many different directions right now. Okay, so after all that freedom and jumping into the unknown with the Fool, we get the Five of Wands, which is a total clash of energies, right? I mean, if the Fool was all about embracing chaos, this card is about, being in the chaos, you know? So it feels like maybe that leap of faith didn't land quite as smoothly as you'd hoped. The Five of Wands is all about conflict, competition, and a general sense of discord. It can feel like everyone's fighting for attention, or there's a constant power struggle going on. So maybe after taking that leap with the Fool, you're now realizing that there are other people involved, and they might not all be on the same page as you know. It's you had this grand vision, but now you're facing some resistance. But here's the thing, this card isn't necessarily negative, okay? It can also represent healthy competition and the clash of ideas that ultimately leads to growth. So maybe this is about finding your voice in the midst of all that noise, you know. Learning how to assert yourself and stand your ground, which kind of ties back to that Seven of Wands energy we saw earlier. But instead of defending yourself against external forces, maybe this is more about navigating internal conflicts and figuring out what you truly believe in. And with that Amazonite crystal, that harmonization is key. Maybe the karmic lesson here is about learning how to find common ground with others, even when you disagree. It's about recognizing that everyone has their own perspective, and that conflict can actually be an opportunity for understanding. So maybe it's not about winning the fight, but about finding a way to work together towards a common goal. This is about how to bring people together, or if you even can bring them together, or if they're just all fighting for the sake of fighting. So, how does this all connect back to the other cards? Well, maybe the Hierophant was showing you the existing structures, and now the Five of Wands is showing you the cracks in those structures, you know. Maybe the Fool was about breaking free from those structures, and now the Five of Wands is about dealing with the aftermath of that decision. It's all about learning how to navigate those challenges and finding a way to create harmony amidst the chaos. And it makes me wonder, what's the final outcome of all this gonna be? Okay, so after all that chaos and conflict, we finally arrive at the Two of Swords. This card is like a giant pause button, right? It's all about being at a crossroads, needing to make a decision, but feeling totally blocked and unsure of which way to go, you know? So, like, how does this tie into everything else we've seen so far? Well, remember the Hanged Man. That was about pausing to gain a new perspective. The Two of Swords is like the next level of that, like you've gained the perspective, but now you have to actually do something with it. And the Emperor, that was about taking control, but the Two of Swords is saying like, hold on, before you start bossing everyone around, you need to figure out what you actually want. The Star was about hope and inspiration, but the Two of Swords is like, okay, great, you have hope, but how are you going to make it a reality? The Seven of Wands was about defending your ground, but the Two of Swords is asking, is this battle really worth fighting? The Hierophant was about questioning tradition, and the Two of Swords is saying, okay, you've questioned it, now what are you going to do about it? And the Fool was all about taking a leap of faith, and the Two of Swords is like, uh-oh, maybe you jumped too soon, now you gotta figure out where you landed. And then the Five of Wands, that conflict, the Two of Swords is begging for peace, you know? Like, can we find a resolution here? So, what does this all mean for you? Well, the Two of Swords is telling you that you're at a point where you need to make a choice, but you're feeling paralyzed by indecision, right? You might be weighing the pros and cons, but you're not really getting anywhere. It's like you're trying to see clearly, but you're wearing a blindfold. So the first thing you need to do is, like, remove that blindfold, okay? Take a step back and really look at the situation from all angles, you know? Don't be afraid to ask for help to get a second opinion. But ultimately, the decision is yours. And remember that Amazonite crystal. It's all about harmonizing. So maybe the answer isn't about choosing one side or the other, but about finding a middle ground, a compromise that works for everyone. This could mean needing to set some boundaries, to say no to things that don't align with your values. It could mean needing to let go of control and trust that everything will work out for the best. But mostly, it's about trusting yourself, trusting your intuition, and knowing that you have the strength to make the right choice. You've got this. Hey there, you chose the garnet cluster. This crystal is all about flowing, right, letting go, and moving forward, and that's so key for this reading. Because it's all about breaking cycles of avoidance and embracing vulnerability and growth. So let's see what these cards have to say about the karmic lessons they need to learn about you, okay? First up, we have the Six of Pentacles. This card often shows up when there's been some kind of imbalance, like a give and take that hasn't felt quite fair, you know? Maybe they feel like they've been giving way more than they've been receiving in the relationship, or maybe, and this is important, maybe they feel like they've been taking too much, and now the universe is kind of evening things out. It could even be about feeling indebted to you in some way, like they owe you something, emotionally or otherwise. The thing is, with the Six of Pentacles here, there's definitely a karmic lesson around fairness and reciprocity that they're grappling with regarding you. And it's likely causing them some discomfort, like a nagging feeling that things aren't quite right between you two. They might even be avoiding dealing with it directly, hoping it'll just go away, which, you know, it usually doesn't, right? But then we have the Star. Oh, this is beautiful. This is like a breath of fresh air after that Six of Pentacles energy, you know? The Star is all about hope, healing, and finding your guiding light again. So, even if they've been in this space of imbalance or feeling like they're carrying some karmic debt, the Star is saying that healing is possible. It's like the universe is sending them a message of hope, telling them that it's okay to release the guilt or the feeling of being wronged and to start focusing on their own well-being. Maybe they need to see you as someone who brings healing and inspiration into their life, someone who helps them see the bigger picture and believe in a brighter future. And this flowing energy of the garnet, it really amplifies that sense of release and renewal, like washing away the old and making space for the new. It's like, yes, there were lessons to be learned, but now it's time to heal and move on. And finally, we have the Two of Wands. Okay, so after the healing of the star, the Two of Wands is about choices and future planning. It's like they're standing at a crossroads, looking out at the world and deciding what direction to take, you know. This card suggests they're realizing they have options, and they have the power to create their own reality. Maybe they're starting to see you as someone who's opened their eyes to new possibilities, or maybe they're realizing that they need to step into their own power and make decisions that are aligned with their true selves. The Two of Wands is about taking control of your destiny, and it's showing up here to say that they're ready to embrace that power, maybe because of the lessons they've learned from you or the healing they've experienced. Okay, wow, I'm really excited to see where this goes next. Okay, so the Six of Wands. Oh, this is interesting. This is really interesting. So after all that, after the imbalance, the healing, the choices, we get the Six of Wands, which is like victory, recognition, public acknowledgement, right? So how does that fit into this whole karmic lesson thing, you know? Okay, so maybe, just maybe, they're starting to see you as their victory, right? Like you are the thing that they've been striving for, or the thing that represents success in their eyes, or the victory over their old patterns, right? After dealing with whatever imbalance was there, and after going through that healing process that the star represents, maybe they're finally seeing you as, like, the prize, you know. That might sound a little cheesy, but it's like, you represent something really positive and triumphant in their life, you know. Or, okay, here's another thought, maybe the victory isn't necessarily you, but it's something they've achieved internally because of you, you know. Like they've overcome some kind of personal challenge or obstacle, and your presence in their life, or the lessons they've learned from you, have been instrumental in that victory. Maybe it's a victory over their own insecurities, or a victory over a fear of commitment, or a victory over whatever was holding them back from fully embracing a relationship, you know. And they're starting to recognize that and celebrate that within themselves, right? And the thing is, this card is about public recognition, too, so maybe they're starting to, like, acknowledge to themselves, or even to others, how important you are to them, or how much they appreciate what you've brought into their life, you know. It's like they're not hiding it anymore, they're proud to have you in their corner, or they're proud of the person they've become because of you. Or, okay, thinking about the Two of Wands and making choices. Maybe the victory is the realization that they have choices, you know. That they're not stuck in that old pattern of imbalance, that they can choose a different path, a path that leads to happiness and fulfillment, and maybe you represent that path in some way, you know. You're like the embodiment of that possibility, that potential for a better future, you know. Okay, wow, this is really cool. I'm so curious to see what the next card is gonna be, because it feels like things are really building to something here, you know. Okay, so the Nine of Swords. Oh man, this is intense, right? I mean, look at that card. It's all about anxiety, worry, like sleepless nights, you know. So after all that hope and victory, what's with all the freaking out, right? Okay, so maybe, just maybe, this is about the anxiety that comes before the victory, right? Like they're so worried about messing things up, or about not being good enough, that it's causing them all this stress and, like, inner turmoil, you know. Or, going back to that Six of Pentacles, maybe they're feeling anxious about the imbalance, like, they're so worried about owing you something, or about not being able to reciprocate, that it's keeping them up at night, you know. Like they feel this pressure to make things right, but they don't know how, and that's causing them all this anxiety. It's like they're lying awake thinking, oh my God, am I good enough? Can I give them what they need? Am I going to screw this up? You know. And then, okay, think about the Two of Wands, right? All those choices, all that future planning. Maybe they're just completely overwhelmed by the possibilities, you know? Like, they have all these options in front of them, but they're terrified of making the wrong choice, and that fear is manifesting as this, like, crippling anxiety. It's like, what if I choose the wrong path? What if I mess everything up? what if I'm not ready for this? You know. Or, okay, what if it's about the Six of Wands, the victory? Maybe they're afraid of losing it, you know. Like they've finally achieved something good, something they're proud of, and now they're terrified that it's all going to be taken away from them, you know. It's like they're waiting for the other shoe to drop, and that's causing them all this anxiety and, like, paranoia. But okay, here's another thought, and this is kind of a tough one. Maybe they're not the ones experiencing the anxiety. Maybe they're causing it, you know. Remember, this reading is about what they need to learn about you, right? So maybe their actions or their indecision or their own anxiety is actually what's keeping you up at night, you know. Maybe you're the one who's lying awake worrying about where this is all going. Okay, wow, this is heavy, right? I'm, like, seriously on the edge of my seat to see what the last card is, because it feels like we're getting so close to the heart of the matter, you know. Okay, so we have the Queen of Cups. Oh wow, that's really interesting, right? Because the Queen of Cups, she's all about emotions, intuition, compassion, you know. So, like, how does that fit into everything else we've seen so far, right? Okay, so maybe they need to see you as the Queen of Cups, you know. Like, they need to recognize that you're coming from a place of deep empathy and understanding, even if they've been, like, causing you anxiety or creating some kind of imbalance, right? They need to see that you're not just this, like, source of stress or obligation, but that you're actually a really caring and intuitive person who's trying to connect with them on a deeper level, you know. It's like they need to appreciate your emotional intelligence and your ability to, like, see through their BS, you know. And maybe they've been avoiding that. Maybe they've been avoiding truly seeing you for who you are, because it's too intimidating or too vulnerable, right? But the Queen of Cups is saying, no, you need to embrace this. You need to open your heart and see this person for all that they are. Or, okay, what if it's about them needing to embody the Queen of Cups energy themselves, right? Like, they need to tap into their own emotions and their own intuition in order to navigate this whole situation with you, you know. Maybe they've been so focused on, like, the practical aspects of the relationship or the external pressures that they've been ignoring their own feelings and the feelings of others involved, right? Maybe they need to, like, get in touch with their softer side and start leading with their heart instead of their head, you know. Especially after all that anxiety from the Nine of Swords, like, maybe the Queen of Cups is the antidote to all that worry, you know. Like, instead of freaking out about everything that could go wrong, they just need to trust their intuition and follow their heart, you know. And also, maybe they need to offer you that same nurturing energy of the Queen of Cups, right? Maybe you're the one who needs the compassion and understanding right now, and they need to step up and provide that for you, especially after the Six of Pentacles. It's like, instead of focusing on the imbalance, they need to focus on, like, healing and nurturing the connection between you two, you know. Okay, wow, this is really starting to come together. I can't wait to see what the next card reveals, you know. Okay, so now we have the Strength card, right? And this card is all about, like, inner strength, courage, compassion, and control, you know. So after all those emotions with the Queen of Cups, what's with needing all the strength, right? Okay, so maybe, just maybe, they need to see you as the Strength card, you know. Like, they need to realize how strong you are, how much courage you have, especially after everything that's been going on, right? Maybe they've been underestimating you, or maybe they haven't been fully appreciating the inner fortitude that you possess, you know. It's like they see you as this gentle, compassionate Queen of Cups, but they're not recognizing the fierce strength that lies beneath the surface, you know. And maybe that's the karmic lesson, right? To truly see you, to acknowledge your power, and to respect the boundaries that you've set, you know. Or, okay, what if it's about them needing to find their own strength, right? Like, after all that anxiety and worry from the Nine of Swords, maybe they need to tap into their own inner reserves of courage and resilience, you know. Maybe they've been relying too much on external validation or on other people to solve their problems, and the universe is telling them, no, you need to find the strength within yourself to face these challenges, you know. It's like they need to learn how to tame their own inner demons, to quiet those anxious thoughts, and to trust in their own abilities, you know. And maybe that's why the Queen of Cups showed up first, right? Because compassion and empathy are key components of inner strength, you know. It's not just about being tough, it's about being kind to yourself and to others, even when things are difficult. And okay, thinking about the Six of Pentacles and that imbalance. Maybe the strength they need is the strength to address that imbalance, you know? To have the courage to say, hey, this isn't working for me, or I need to step up and take responsibility for my actions, you know? It's like it takes a lot of strength to be vulnerable and honest, especially when you're afraid of hurting someone's feelings or of facing the consequences of your actions. And maybe that's the karmic lesson, right? To learn that true strength comes from vulnerability, from being willing to show your true self, flaws and all, you know. And maybe the strength card is also about, like, them needing to control their anxieties, especially after seeing the Nine of Swords, you know. To master those fears and to find a sense of calm and inner peace, right? Okay, so the strength card, it's really adding another layer to this whole karmic lesson, you know. I'm seriously so eager to see what the next card is gonna be, because it feels like we're getting closer and closer to, like, the big reveal, you know. Okay, so death, right? Don't freak out, okay? It's not about, like, actual death, it's about transformation, endings leading to new beginnings, you know. So after everything we've seen, this card is like the big kahuna, right? It's saying that they need to let go of something old and outdated in order to move forward, you know. Maybe, just maybe, they need to let go of their old perception of you, you know? All those anxieties from the Nine of Swords, the imbalance from the Six of Pentacles. Maybe they need to, like, shed those old beliefs and see you in a completely new light, you know? To recognize your strength, your compassion, your Queen of Cups energy, and to understand that you're not someone to be feared or controlled, but someone to be respected and appreciated. It's like they have to bury their old ideas about you and allow a new understanding to emerge, right? Or, okay, what if it's about them letting go of something within themselves, you know? Like, maybe they need to let go of their fear of vulnerability, their fear of commitment, their fear of failure, you know? All those anxieties that have been holding them back from fully embracing a relationship with you, or from fully stepping into their own power. It's like they need to kill off their old self, the self that's been plagued by doubt and insecurity, and allow a new, stronger, more confident self to be born, you know? And this is where the garnet energy comes in, right? It's all about flowing, about releasing what no longer serves you, and about embracing change, even when it's scary. Maybe they need to, like, surrender to the process of transformation and trust that the universe has their back, you know? Even if it feels like they're losing something, they're actually gaining something much more valuable. A deeper understanding of themselves, a more authentic connection with you, and a clearer path forward. And you know, thinking about the strength card, maybe the strength they need is the strength to face this transformation head-on, you know? To not shy away from the discomfort or the uncertainty, but to embrace it as an opportunity for growth. It's like they need to become the phoenix rising from the ashes, stronger and more resilient than ever before, you know. So the death card, it's not something to be feared, it's something to be celebrated, right? It's a sign that they're on the verge of a major breakthrough, a profound shift in perspective that will ultimately lead them to a happier, healthier, and more fulfilling life, and relationship with you, okay? So trust the process, have faith in their ability to transform, and know that even though endings can be painful, they always pave the way for new beginnings, you know. And you've got this, okay? You've been through so much, you're so strong, and you're ready for whatever comes next. Hey, friend. So you picked the amber palm stone, and amber is all about centering. It's like bringing you back to yourself, which totally fits, because this whole reading is about overcoming self-sacrifice and, like, finally putting yourself first and setting some boundaries. So knowing that, let's dive right into these cards, because oh my god, they're already telling such a story. Okay, so first up, we have the Knight of Wands, and he's, like, all about this fiery energy, this, like, gadgeter attitude, right? He's super passionate, super driven, but sometimes And I mean sometimes he can be a little, impulsive, a little reckless. He's the type to just charge headfirst without, fully thinking things through. So I feel like this person, or maybe even you, is coming at you with this intense energy, this almost, aggressive pursuit. But remember our amber stone. It's like you need to stay grounded and not get swept away by all that fire. Maybe it's exciting, maybe it's flattering, but is it really serving you? Then we have the devil. Oh my God, this card, right? So it's not necessarily about, a bad person or anything like that. It's more about feeling trapped, feeling restricted, maybe even addicted to something or someone. It can be a situation where you feel like you have to do something or be with someone even though it's not really good for you. And often, it's because of our own choices, our own patterns. It's like we create these chains ourselves, and then we're stuck. So I feel like this Knight of Wands energy, this almost obsessive pursuit, is actually rooted in something deeper, like a feeling of being trapped or controlled. Maybe this person is projecting their own insecurities onto you, or maybe they're trying to control you in some way. But either way, it's not healthy, okay? And then bam, we have the Tower. Oh girl, this is like major upheaval. This is like the universe stepping in and saying, okay, enough is enough. This card is all about sudden change, destruction, and ultimately liberation. It's like everything you thought you knew is crumbling down, and it can be scary, but it's also necessary. It's like you need this Tower moment to break free from those chains that the devil represents. It's a wake-up call to prioritize yourself, to set those boundaries, and to finally say, no more. Remember our theme, overcoming self-sacrifice. The Tower is how you do that. It's messy, it's chaotic, but it's so freeing. This shakeup is going to lead you back to your center, okay? Okay, so we've got this whole fiery Knight of Wands energy coming at you, then feeling trapped by the devil, and then bam, the Tower moment, right? So what does death bring into all this? Okay, so death, oh my God, it's not like a physical death, okay? Don't freak out. It's about endings, transformations, and major shifts. It's about something coming to a close so that something new can begin. It's about shedding the old to make way for the new you. A butterfly emerging from its cocoon moment, So with the devil card, it's about feeling trapped, right? Death is like the ultimate escape route. It's the cutting of those chains, the breaking free from whatever's been holding you back. And remember the Tower? All that chaos. Death is like what's left after the Tower falls. It's the clearing of the rubble, the making space for something better. It's about accepting that something has to end, even if it's painful, in order to move on. This could also mean the death of an old version of yourself to step into a newer, better one, who doesn't make the same choices that keep you bound. And bringing it back to our theme, overcoming self-sacrifice, death is like the death of that old habit. It's about finally killing off the part of you that always puts everyone else first, even when it hurts you. It's about setting boundaries and letting go of the guilt that comes with it. Maybe you are ending a cycle of always saying yes when you really want to say no. Or it could be a transformation in the relationship. Maybe they are realizing their patterns aren't working and need to change. Death is saying, enough is enough, but in a more permanent, transformative way than the Tower. The Tower was the event, now you are integrating it. These are karmic lessons and are here to help you grow. What needs to end to let you finally prioritize yourself, to set healthy boundaries, and to step into your own power? I wonder if the next cards will clarify what specifically needs to die here. Okay, so then we have the King of Wands, oh my God. So we went from the Knight of Wands to the King, right? The Knight is all that fiery, impulsive energy, but the King, he's mastered it, He's still passionate, still driven, but he's got this authority, this confidence that comes from experience. He's not just charging in blindly, he's strategic, he's charismatic, he knows how to lead. So what does this King energy mean in the context of all that chaos we just talked about? Well, I think this is about stepping into your power, fully owning your worth and not letting anyone control you anymore. Remember the Devil card, feeling trapped. The King of Wands is the ultimate antidote to that. It's about recognizing your own inner strength and using it to break free from those chains. and bringing it back to the tower, all that destruction. The king is like building something new from the ashes, something that's aligned with your true self. But here's the thing, this king energy can be a little tricky too. Because sometimes, people who are really confident can also be a little, domineering. So this could be about someone else stepping into their power and trying to control you, or it could be about you needing to be careful not to become too controlling yourself. Maybe this person, whoever it is learning how to be a leader, and they're still figuring out how to use their power in a healthy way. Or maybe you're the one who needs to step up and take charge of your own life, but without, bulldozing over everyone else in the process. This is about setting boundaries, right? Knowing your worth and not letting anyone take advantage of you, but also respecting other people's boundaries, too. This is, a major karmic lesson, because it's about finding that balance between being assertive and being compassionate. It's about learning how to use your power in a way that serves both you and the people around you. Maybe you are learning to be strong in your convictions and in using your voice without needing to be aggressive or controlling. It's like the universe is teaching you how to lead with integrity. This is all about you stepping into your authentic power, girl. I am excited to see what these last cards say. What is the specific karmic lesson you are learning here? Okay, so the Hierophant, oh my god, right? So this card is all about tradition, institutions, doing things the right way. It's about following the rules, conforming to expectations, and adhering to established systems. So what does this mean in the context of everything we've already seen? Well, okay, first, let's think about the Knight of Wands, right? That fiery energy, that impulsiveness. The Hierophant is the complete opposite of that. It's slow down, think things through, follow the proper channels. So maybe this person, whoever it is realizing that their usual approach isn't working with you, and that they need to, take a more traditional, structured approach. And then we have the Devil feeling trapped, right? The Hierophant could be about the institutions or belief systems that are keeping them trapped. Maybe they're realizing that they've been following a certain path because they thought they had to, not because they actually wanted to. Or it could be about them feeling confined by your expectations, or by what they think you expect from them. Okay, so then the Tower, that major upheaval. The Hierophant could represent the old structures that are crumbling down. Maybe this person's entire belief system is being challenged. Or maybe they're realizing that the traditional roles they've been playing in relationships just aren't working anymore. Oh my god, and then death. The Hierophant is almost what dies is their old, traditional way of thinking. It's about the death of old paradigms. And the King of Wands, maybe they are embodying a powerful leader who's breaking away from those old traditions and paving a new way. They want to lead you into a new paradigm where you both have your individual power. But here's the thing, the Hierophant can also be about learning through teachers or mentors. So maybe you are the one teaching them a lesson by challenging their beliefs and showing them a different way of doing things. Maybe you're showing them that it's okay to break free from tradition, to question authority, and to forge their own path. Or it could be that you are an example of breaking free from the old self-sacrifice paradigm. They are learning that they don't need to do that anymore, seeing you. And bringing it all back to self-sacrifice, maybe the karmic lesson they need to learn is that, blindly following tradition can actually lead to feeling trapped and unfulfilled. Maybe they need to learn to prioritize their own needs and values, even if it means going against the grain. Ooh, what does our last card have to say about it? Okay, girl, the Lovers. Oh my god, this card is all about choices, right? Big, important decisions, usually in relationships, but not always. It's about partnerships, alignment, and figuring out what you truly value. So where does this fit into our story so far? I mean, with all this chaotic energy, this shakeup of traditions. The Lovers is okay, now what are you going to choose? Remember the Devil card, feeling trapped? I feel the Lovers is saying you have a choice to break free from that. It's about recognizing that you're not stuck, that you have options, even if they don't seem obvious right now. And what about the Hierophant, all those old traditions? The Lovers is like, do you choose to follow those traditions, or do you choose your own path? This card is all about making conscious decisions, you know? It's not about just drifting along and letting things happen to you. It's about taking control and actively creating the life that you want. This might involve a big choice in a relationship, like, are you going to stay or are you going to go? But it could also be about choosing your values, like, what's really important to you? What are you willing to compromise on and what are you not? This is where the alignment piece comes in. The Lovers is about finding a relationship or a path that's truly aligned with your values, with your soul, you know? It's about being with someone who supports you, who challenges you to grow, and who shares your vision for the future. But it's also about being true to yourself and not sacrificing your own needs or desires for someone else. And that's where the self-sacrifice piece comes in, right? Because the Lovers can sometimes be about choosing between your own happiness and someone else's. And that's a really tough decision to make. But remember, this whole reading is about overcoming self-sacrifice. So I feel like the universe is nudging you to choose yourself, to prioritize your own needs, even if it's scary or uncomfortable. This might mean setting boundaries in a relationship, or even ending a relationship that's not serving you. It might mean saying no to things that you don't want to do, even if it disappoints someone else. But ultimately, it's about choosing to love yourself and to create a life that's authentic and fulfilling. It's like you're at a crossroads and you have to choose which path to take. And both paths might look appealing, but one of them is more aligned with your true self, with your higher purpose. So, like, how are you going to decide? What criteria are you using to make this decision? I'm dying to know what our next card says. Okay, so after all that, girl, we've arrived at the world, oh my gosh. It's like the end of a cycle, right? Completion, wholeness, like you've finally put all the pieces together. It's like you've gone through this whole journey, all this chaos, and now you're like standing on top of the mountain, looking out at the view. So remember that Knight of Wands energy, that initial fiery pursuit. The world is like, you've learned how to handle that energy, how to channel it in a way that serves you instead of overwhelming you. And the devil, that feeling of being trapped. The world is like you're finally free. You've broken those chains, you've overcome those limitations, and you're stepping into a bigger, brighter future. Remember the tower, all that destruction. The world is like, you've rebuilt your life from the ashes, and it's even better than before. So, like, what does this mean for you, practically speaking? Well, I think it means that you're ready to embrace a new chapter, a new cycle of growth and expansion. You've learned so much about yourself, about your boundaries, about what you truly value. You've overcome self-sacrifice and you're finally putting yourself first. And now you're ready to share your gifts with the world, to make a difference, to leave your mark. This could mean a new relationship, a new career, a new creative project, like anything that aligns with your soul's purpose. It's like the universe is saying, okay, you've done the work, now it's time to reap the rewards. But here's the thing, this isn't just about you, okay? The world is also about connection, about recognizing that we're all part of something bigger than ourselves. So, as you step into this new cycle, remember to stay grounded, to stay connected to your community, and to use your power for good. Remember that amber palm stone you chose. It's all about centering, right? You need to keep coming back to yourself. Maybe this means being a leader, being a mentor, being an example of someone who lives with integrity and compassion. It's like you've learned so much on this journey, and now it's time to share that wisdom with others. And like, remember the Lovers, that choice? Well, with the world, you made it, and you made the right choice. So yeah, I really do feel like a lot of your guidance is just, staying present with it, being open. Recognizing that, like, instead of worrying about outcomes, worry about what feels authentic in the moment. Spirit is encouraging you to let go of outcomes and embrace experiences, because there's a lot that you get out of just interacting with the world. I think that you're being guided to continue opening up to these deeper truths that just reveal more to you about the nature of love outside of yourself and within you. The world is like, you're not just surviving, you're thriving. So go out there and shine, girl. Okay, my friend, If you chose the Amethyst Tower, this is so beautiful. Amethyst is all about nurturing, and that's so key for this reading because our theme is confronting unhealed wounds, but with a ton of self-compassion and forgiveness, which is so important, you're going to need that nurturing energy. So let's dive in because wow, these cards are intense, but also super powerful for growth. First up, we have the Tower. Oof. The Tower is never a fun card, right? But it's always necessary. It signifies a sudden, unexpected change, a collapse of something that wasn't built on a solid foundation. So in terms of karmic lessons, this Tower moment is likely triggered by something they need to learn about you, Maybe they had this, completely wrong idea of who you are, and the universe is about to, shatter that illusion. Think of it as a building imploding messy, but ultimately clearing the way for something new and stronger. This isn't about you being punished. It's about them finally seeing the truth, even if it's a rude awakening. It's they thought they knew you, but bam, karmic truth bomb. And that leads us to the Hanged Man. After the Tower falls, there's this period of suspension, of seeing things from a totally different perspective. The Hanged Man is all about surrender, letting go of control and allowing yourself to see things from a new angle. So, they're going to be forced to, stop and really think about their actions and how they've perceived you. This is where that amethyst energy comes in. They're going to need to nurture themselves through this process, forgive themselves for their past misjudgments, It's a moment of deep introspection for them, a chance to finally understand the impact of their actions. It's they're hanging upside down, and suddenly everything looks different and they're oh, I get it now. But here's the really exciting part, the Three of Wands. This card is all about expansion, planning for the future, and taking your vision out into the world. So after this Tower moment and period of reflection, there's a huge opportunity for growth and new beginnings. They're going to be in a position to finally appreciate you for who you truly are, and to build a relationship with you based on honesty and understanding. It's they've cleared the rubble, they've shifted their perspective, and now they can finally see the path forward with you, This karmic lesson, though painful, is paving the way for a much brighter future, filled with potential and new possibilities. This is them learning to value you, for real. Okay, so the Five of Swords, right after the Tower falls, and they're hanging upside down, seeing everything differently because of the Hanged Man. This card screams internal conflict, they've had this Tower moment, their perceptions shattered, and now they're dealing with the fallout. There's probably a temptation to win this situation, to prove they were right all along, even though the Tower already showed them they weren't. It's they're standing on this battlefield, surveying the damage, and they could try to claim victory, but it's a hollow victory, because it's coming at a cost. Maybe it's their pride, maybe it's the relationship, maybe it's just their own sense of peace. This Five of Swords energy can be super toxic, because it's all about ego, not about genuine resolution. And remember, we're talking about karmic lessons. So this isn't just about them having a bad day. This is about them needing to learn a deeper truth about themselves and how they interact with you. Maybe they're realizing they've been acting out of insecurity, or fear, or some other unhealed wound. And instead of dealing with that, they're trying to project it onto you, trying to make you the bad guy so they don't have to look at their own stuff. But the universe isn't going to let them get away with that. The Tower already shook things up. The Hanged Man is forcing them to see things differently, and the Five of Swords is showing them the consequences of their actions. It's if they choose to fight dirty and claim a meaningless victory, they're just going to end up feeling worse in the long run. But here's where the amethyst energy comes in, right? This is where the self-compassion and forgiveness are so crucial. Because, it's easy to fall into that trap of wanting to be right, wanting to win. But the real lesson is about understanding why they felt the need to win in the first place. What's the underlying insecurity that's driving this behavior? What's the unhealed wound that's making them act this way? They need to nurture themselves through this, forgive themselves for their past mistakes, and choose a different path forward. Because remember, the Three of Wands is coming. This is not a card about losing entirely, but growing out of the conflict into a new beginning. It's like, instead of focusing on winning the battle, they need to focus on healing the wound. And that's going to require a lot of courage, a lot of vulnerability, and a lot of self-compassion. It's a big ask, I know, but with the amethyst energy and the lessons from these cards so far, it's definitely possible. So, like, what's the next card going to reveal about how they can actually do that, you know? Okay, wow, so they've had this, like, major tower moment, right? Their whole world got shaken, their perspective flipped with the Hanged Man, and now they're battling their ego with the Five of Swords. Like, it's a whole mess of internal drama. But like, remember the amethyst. That nurturing energy is still there, thank goodness. So like, what's the next step in this karmic lesson, you know? Oh my god, the Hermit. Okay, this is like so perfect. So after all that chaos and conflict, they're going to retreat, like go into Kal Wendan, Inus, Hermit mode. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, okay? It's not like they're like running away forever. It's more like they need to disconnect from the external world to really, truly understand what just happened, you know? Like they need some serious alone time to process all these feelings and revelations. Think of it as like going into a cave to find the answers, you know? The Hermit is all about introspection, soul-searching, and finding wisdom within. So they're, like, taking a break from the drama to, like, turn inward and listen to their own inner voice. It's like, okay, universe, you've thrown a lot at me. Let me go somewhere quiet and figure out what it all means. And with the amethyst energy, this retreat is going to be, like, super nurturing for them. This is where they can, like, finally forgive themselves, you know? For all the misjudgments, the ego battles, the wrong assumptions. This Hermit phase isn't about, like, punishing themselves. It's about, like, giving themselves the space and time they need to heal and grow. It's a time for deep reflection. What did they learn from the Tower? How has their perspective shifted with the Hanged Man? What was the real cost of that Five of Swords victory? And what does it all mean for their relationship with you? It's like they're holding up this lantern, searching for answers in the darkness, and those answers are coming from within. And remember, the Three of Wands is coming. They can only make solid plans for that next step if they connect with themselves again. This is an important step that they need to go through. It's so important, you know, because like, they can't build a new, healthier relationship with you until they've done this inner work. It's like they need to clear out all the old baggage before they can move forward. But I'm so excited to pull the final card and see, like, what that looks like, you know. Okay, wow. So after all that hermit time, after all that soul-searching and introspection, bam, Ace of Wands. Can you feel that energy? It's like they've been in the darkness, and now suddenly there's this spark of inspiration, this burst of creative energy, this brand new opportunity just waiting for them. It's like the universe is saying, okay, you've done the work, you've faced your demons, now it's time to create something amazing. This isn't just any new beginning, this is a passionate new beginning, you know? Think of it like they've been hibernating all winter, and now spring is finally here, bursting forth with new life and possibilities. What does this mean for them, though, like, practically? Well, it could mean a lot of things. Maybe they've realized a new passion they want to pursue, a new project they want to start, or a new direction they want to take their life. It could also mean a new understanding of themselves and their relationship with you. Like maybe during that hermit time, they realized they were, like, totally blocking their own creativity, or that they were afraid to express their true selves. And now, with this Ace of Wands energy, they're finally ready to break free and embrace their authentic selves. I definitely feel like this is all about them embracing transformation and embracing the fact that they don't need to know exactly how things are gonna work out. They just need to move through this new energy and embrace it. And remember that amethyst energy, that nurturing, supportive vibe. This is where it really comes into play, because starting something new can be scary, right? Especially after going through all that upheaval with the Tower and the Five of Swords. But with the amethyst energy, they can nurture themselves through this process, trust their intuition, and know that they're being guided every step of the way. This Ace of Wands is like the universe winking at them, saying, "You got this." It's like they've been given this amazing gift, this spark of inspiration, and it's up to them to nurture it and let it grow. How can they make the most of this new opportunity? How can they turn this spark into a roaring flame? It's all about taking that first step, trusting their instincts, and believing in themselves. And I think this Ace of Wands is such a strong indicator that they're gonna be able to do just that. It really is a card about just moving through what the universe is asking you to let go of. I'm so curious to see what the final card reveals about how this all plays out. What's the next chapter in this karmic lesson going to look like? There are so many exciting possibilities. Okay, oh my God, the Nine of Cups. Are you kidding me? After all that drama, all that introspection, all that freaking chaos, we get the freaking Nine of Cups. Like, this is the wish card, right? Like, traditionally, it means like, all your wishes are coming true, you're totally satisfied, you're living the dream, But like in this context, after everything we've seen, it's like way more complex than that, So after the soul searching, the dust has settled, and now, wish fulfillment. Okay, so like what exactly does that mean? Okay, so think about it. They've gone through this tower moment, right? Their perceptions shattered. They've been hanging upside down, seeing things from a new perspective. They've battled their ego, retreated into hermit mode to find their truth, and then bam, Ace of Wands, that spark of new inspiration. So this Nine of Cups isn't just about getting everything they want, it's about finally understanding what they truly want, Like maybe they thought they wanted, I don't know, to be right all the time or to control the situation. But now they realize that what they really want is, like, genuine connection, authentic love, inner peace, All that good stuff that actually matters. And remember that amethyst energy, that nurturing, compassionate vibe. This Nine of Cups is like a reward for all that hard work, They nurtured themselves through all that tough stuff. They forgave themselves for their mistakes. And now the universe is like, okay, here's a little taste of what you've been working towards. But here's where it gets really interesting, right? Because we're talking about karmic lessons. So this wish fulfillment, it's not just about them. It's about their relationship with you, Maybe their wish is to finally have a healthy, balanced, loving relationship with you. Maybe they've realized that you're the missing piece in their puzzle, and that they can't truly be happy without you in their life. And the Three of Wands. Now they can start planning in earnest for a future with you. Or, and here's another possibility, maybe their wish is to finally let you go, Maybe they've realized that they're not the right person for you, and that the most loving thing they can do is to set you free. I know it's hard to imagine after all this investment. That is a more karmic possibility, with justice being the end result. I feel like this is very unlikely after the Ace of Wands, though. It's like they've finally learned their lesson, they've grown as a person, and now they're ready to, step into their power and create a life that's aligned with their true values. I'm so curious about what comes next. It's like, what does this wish fulfillment actually look like in practice? Okay, so after all that, we end with the Fool. Like, isn't that wild? So they went through this whole karmic journey, right? The tower crumbled, the hanged man flipped their perspective, they fought their ego, retreated into hermit mode, and then they got that Ace of Wands spark of inspiration, leading to the Nine of Cups wish fulfillment. And now, the Fool. It's like the universe is saying, okay, you've learned your lessons, now go out there and freaking live your life. The Fool is all about new beginnings, like literally stepping off a cliff with no freaking idea where you're going to land. But here's the thing, it's not reckless, It's about trusting that the universe has your back, that you're being guided, and that even if you stumble, you'll learn something valuable along the way. So, how does this tie into their karmic lesson and their relationship with you? Well, remember that Nine of Cups, that wish fulfillment. The Fool is like taking that wish and running with it, Like maybe their wish was to have a healthy relationship with you. The Fool says, okay, go for it. Take that leap of faith, be vulnerable, and see what happens. Or maybe their wish was to finally let you go, to set you free. The Fool says, okay, that's brave, that's compassionate, now go find your own happiness. Whatever their wish is, the Fool is about embracing the unknown and trusting that everything is going to work out for the best. And remember that amethyst energy, that nurturing, supportive vibe. This is where it's really going to come in handy, because the Fool journey can be scary as heck, you know. There are going to be moments of doubt, moments of fear, moments where you want to turn back and hide. But with the amethyst energy, they can nurture themselves through those tough times, trust their intuition, and keep moving forward one step at a time. It's all about self-compassion and forgiveness. Because they're definitely going to make mistakes, you know, but that's okay. That's part of the journey. The important thing is to learn from those mistakes, forgive themselves, and keep growing. This isn't about being perfect, it's about being authentic, being true to themselves, and trusting that they're on the right path. So, my friend, embrace the Fool. Embrace the unknown. Trust the universe. You've got this. This is a beginning, really.